Hello, it's Jay here with another vocal video study where I go through a video that is to help with vocal performance in some way and sort of break it down. Just say, okay, these are the things that this video teached. In this case, it is another Drrn McSty video from his channel Improve Your Voice. This one is how to remember your lines, which I think I picked up because I noticed that at the beginning of a lot of my book reviews, I have a little bit of a set speech of talking about a book. And I find that is the death part of my videos, where I come across the most stiff, where I am looking down, looking at my notes, looking up, looking down, looking at my notes. And it's a crappy part of my video. And it's the very beginning, which isn't a great thing. I think a lot of people will not make it through the barrier of me being so stiff, so just not connecting with people at the beginning of your video. So I thought, okay, how to remember your lines. Maybe that is a video that I can learn some things about, learn how to work at, okay, I'm going to have a little bit of a set speech at the beginning. I want to get certain bits of information forward. I might want to kind of give you an overview of what I'm about to talk about. Things that are a little bit more scripted than the rest of my video, which I will hopefully just be bullet points and me freewheeling. So let's go through what he has, what he brings to the table, what Drrn McSty brings to the table on these points. He uses the text to be or not to be, that famous speech in Hamlet. To be or not to be, and all that, and I can't remember any more of it right now. Whether it is nobler in the mind to take up, I can't remember any of it, but he says, okay, I'm using this text because this is a text that a lot of actors would use. It is a bit more of a difficult text, so it's a little bit harder to perhaps memorize that way. It has some things, trying to just get around the language of Shakespeare can be difficult. So it's got some good things going for it. So let's go through the ideas, and I can kind of at the end talk about where I can see that this might apply to me and where I'm a little bit, it may not actually work for my kind of functioning. Though he insists that it is something that would be equally good for actors as well as for public speakers. So his first idea is break up the text into its ideas. This is break up so go through whatever speech or whatever speech you're planning on giving, and break it up into its separate ideas, which actually makes sense for me opening a book review. I have, okay, maybe I've got like I got an opening statement. I've got what the book is. I've got who the author is. I've got the synopsis of the book. Those are maybe, I think that probably are the things. I probably have a kernel at the beginning of like, what do I want to get across to you in this video to start off with, or at least the beginning of where I think where the audience might be on this book, and then and have the kernel in there of like where do I want to take the audience through the video. So break it up into those separate things. So that actually works for me. For my purposes. I can see for something like Shakespeare, you've got this difficult language. It's like, what the hell is he saying? He says like, this is, and so break it up into the ideas and then write those ideas out in your own voice, which is a little bit more of like you're translating Shakespeare. Hopefully I don't have to translate myself, but I could take it as a point to, okay, can I hone things here? Can I make it a little bit more concise? Can I make things a little bit clearer here? I've got the idea. Do I actually have that idea distilled enough from my original text? So that could be the idea. So once I've broken up the text and once I've kind of distilled it into the proper ideas, his third thing is for you to drill your lines. And this, he says, yeah, this is tedious. This takes a while. There is no quick fix for this. And by drill lines, it is something like where you're going to it's a grind, that grinding drill thing where it's like to be, to be or not, to be or not to be. And you do that for the entire speech. So you're doing it. You've done your speech like a hundred hundreds of times by the time you're finished doing your drill. And the idea is like, okay, maybe you won't have everything at the very end completely memorized, but you'll really ingrained into your mouth, physically into your mouth, the words you want to say. They will become just a part of you. That sort of thing. Repetition, 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 which might not be a bad idea for that first part of my speech, because I find I get very faltering in my delivery when I'm talking about, when I'm introducing a book and I'm introducing an author at the beginning. And this might be a way to get a little bit more, have a bit more facility in my speech at the beginning, where I can be so just so rough. It can be so rough at the beginning, and I don't want to make it rough for the person who's clicking on the video to listen to it. So that is the step of like, okay, you're drilling the lines, you've got them in your mind, in your head, but if you just have them, like you have them there and you just speak them, it's like there's not really any emotion there. There's not any like particular urgency for someone to actually then want to listen to you, which goes into his fourth tip, which is actioning the text. And that is the idea of, what do you choose to put behind the text? What do you want to make the audience feel or react? I think he took like the first lines of to be or not to be, and it's like, how do you, like, maybe you want to make it, just think of like enticing. It's like, to be or not to be, that is the question. Or flirty, hey, to be or not to be, that is the question. And that's quite horrible readings. You could make it, you could put grief behind it. It's like, to be, oh God, I'm not even going to do that. But that sort of idea of like, okay, what emotion do you want to put behind your text that you are going to recite? And the part of that is you're putting something in there, some kind of emotion, some kind of thing that you want to connect to your audience with. So you're taking the focus from yourself to, okay, what do I want to get? What do I want to get from the audience? What do I want to elicit from the audience? And you're also making a connection to that text. It's like, okay, you've got the idea of the text there. So if that's that idea, what emotion is that idea you're trying to get across? And I mean, this may not be stuff that's actually going to read to the audience necessarily, but if you have a kind of consistent emotional feel for what you are talking about, you are actually connected to it, you're actually connected to your audience, and you've remembered your lines, but you're also performing those lines. And it's not even performing, you're making an emotional connection to those lines. You're keeping yourself grounded in the material. You're not simply reciting a number of facts. And he says that this is something that when you get really good at it, it becomes an organic thing. You get in front of an audience and you start talking, and you've got a certain kind of emotional kind of push that you're giving to it. And you might, that's not quite working, or I'm getting laughter from the audience, or I'm getting disinterest from the audience. It's like, what can I do to kind of play with things and work with things? Because you've got that text in there. So that's not the issue anymore. It's more, okay, how do I make that connection with people? And I think there is a crucial thing here of, we're not trying to fool the audience with this sort of thing. We're trying to connect with the audience. So, which is crucial. It's like, acting isn't lying, acting is connecting. And that's what I want to do. I don't want to lie on this channel. I don't want to pretend to be someone I'm not. I want to learn how to connect through my words. through this very safe little place that I've made for myself where I can't see anybody reacting, and it's very low level connecting for me. I admit that I am not interested in getting in front of an audience and practicing this. I am interested in getting behind a camera and having this little glass barrier in between me and the people who might see this video. But yeah. So, not everything here. There's always, it's interesting that we get back to the audience, and what does the audience mean to somebody who's in his room alone talking to a camera? What does the audience mean there? And how do I conceptualize that? How do I feel that in a way that allows me to unlock the messages that I want to communicate, the emotions I want to communicate? It's like, yeah, who are you? Who are you? And who do I need you to be? I guess in my case, who do I need you to be so that I can be a better communicator, so I can work things out? Yeah. Interesting stuff as always. This is why I do these vocal video study videos, to try and dig into this stuff and to try and keep my mind open to different solutions, different ideas, some which may work and some which may not. There may be stuff here that I will integrate into the way I make videos, and maybe not. I will experiment. I will experiment with that. I think I will experiment with the idea of, okay, here is my introduction. Okay, what can I do to memorize, like try to break it up into ideas, try and kind of hone that into my own voice, and then drill those lines, even though that's going to be really tedious at the start. But drill those lines, get it in there, and then try and think up, okay, how do I want to start this video? What's the emotions I want to elicit at the beginning? And I guess I'll have to find out, will there be a big cliff drop off when I go from the introduction to then being more bullet point and just being more, not myself, but being more off the cuff in my remarks versus an introduction. But I need to figure out how to get over the hump of the introduction and on to the rest of the video, because I do feel like there is a big barrier at the beginning of a lot of my videos where I wouldn't watch the rest of my video, which is a bad sign. If I won't watch the beginning of my own video, why would anyone else? All right, I will leave it there. I've been Jay. More videos later.